Okay, for our final act this half, she's been making some sparkling waves in the West Country, a bold, pretty distinctive force, and skewers parenting health and the dawning horror of realising that she's supposed to be a grown-up. Please show her a lot of love, please, to Molly Kinsey.
International Women's Day! I feel like this is a safe space, yeah? I'm going to share something with you guys that's been bothering me now for like a few weeks. I celebrated Valentine's this day by having my smear test. Give me a shout if you had a smear test before. This is where dignity goes to die. And I had like the usual kind of nurse, she's very soft-spoken, she's going to take care of me like you were in my hands. I was like, okay, great. So I was having it done, and I was in the usual position, you know, feet together, knees apart, there we are. And she was like, right, I'm going to find your cervix now. And I was like, yeah, great, cool, I'd just rather get it over and done with, let's keep moving. And she was looking, there's no nice way to put this, up me. And very soft-spoken, very lovely. And then for some reason, just decided to go, oh, there she blows! It's like, you need to work on your bedside manner a little bit. And it was Valentine's Day, so as I left, I was like, well, thanks very much, happy Valentine's Day. And she looked at me like I was the weirdo. It's like, we've been intimate, you know, like we've got something now. So yeah, my name is Molly Kinsey, I am 33 years old. I've been waiting for about the last 15 years for the moment where I suddenly start to feel like I kind of know what's going on in my life. But what I found is, as I've kind of become a grown-up, is things pop up that just constantly remind me of how feral I used to be. So I'm a mum now, I've got a son, he's 5, and Christmas just gone, I took him to a grotto, and I feel like we all know how that works, don't we? It's festive family fun. So we were in the queue to meet Santa, and how this grotto worked was, you're in the queue, you got to the front, and an adult actor dressed as an elf came out to get you all hyped up to go and meet the big guy himself. So we were in the queue for about 20 minutes, and we got to the front and waiting patiently, and our elf comes out, and I realised quite quickly that our elf was the man I lost my virginity to. There's a lot of things you can prepare for in your life. Seeing your first sexual conquest in bells and tights is not one of them. So we went on in and we met Santa, and my son's chatting away, and I'm stood next to the sex elf. Sorry, I'm just in the mood, I'm very conscious I don't want to fall, there we go. So yeah, and I thought, I'm going to, like, you know, I'll make this less awkward, I'll talk to him. So I was like, so how are you? How's your mum? How has this happened? Because I thought you were supposed to go to Cambridge, but like here you are. And he turned to me dead seriously, said, I can't actually talk to you because it's in my contract that during the duration of your visit I need to stay in character. And I thought to myself, I know your fucking character, mate. And it's the guy that pops on Yesterday by the Beatles to set the mood. A song famously about regret. So yeah, my son's 5. Any other parents in the room? Anyone with kids kind of 10 or older? Yeah. Madam, what's your name?
Antonia.
Antonia. At what point did they stop being weird? No, they don't. It's not what I wanted to hear, Antonia. My son is so strange. I'm basically raising a very small Stephen King. He's very into ghosts and zombies, goosebumps, all of that. The main headline in our house the last few months is that we have a ghost. And the name that he has given our ghost is the man who lives in the walls. And he woke me up the other morning, it was kind of 4 AM, and he shook me awake. He was like, Mummy, wake up. I was like, what, is there a fire? What's happening? He's like, no, it's fine. I've been talking to the man that lives in the walls. And I was like, okay, great. What's he had to say this time? And he got really close to my ear and he just went, He wants me to tell you that your hair smells nice. I had two thoughts. My first one was, I need to get this place on the market, we're leaving. My second one was, I will take a compliment where I can get it. I have been making more effort around the house, like I don't want him to lose interest, you know, like. So yeah, he's loved ghosts, zombies. Halloween's a big one for him. We look forward to Halloween all year. This Halloween he woke up and he was like, can I wear my costume all day? And I said, sure, why not? Live, laugh, love. We are literally on the brink of nuclear disaster. If that's going to make you happy, go for it. And what his costume was a very small Grim Reaper. Very cute, little hood, little side. He was loving it. So we went off into town to do a couple of jobs. And we were on our way back to our house, and to get back to our house you have to pass a church. And as we approached the church, it became horrifyingly clear to me very quickly that there was a funeral about to take place. Now, those of you paying attention will remember my situation. I was with a very small god of death, and there was a lot of people in mourning. So I was like, this is a test to see how I handle this. So I was like, I can do this. I got down to his level and I went, listen mate, here's what's going to happen. You are going to be quiet. You are going to be respectful. We're going to go past. Do you understand? He was like, yes mate, I understand. It's like, great. So we carry on our little journey and he's been very well behaved, and I'm thinking, I have fucking smashed this. They're going to write about this in parenting books. I'm going to be on Good Morning Britain as the new super nanny after this like parenting success story. And just as we're about to clear the crowd, the hearse pulls up with the coffin in the back. And my son, at the top of his voice, decides to go, hello dead person, welcome to your funeral. Perfect, exactly how I wanted it to go. And we like scurried back to the hole we crawled out of. And I was sat thinking about it that evening and I was like, God, I do feel really bad about it, because that's all they're going to be talking about, isn't it? They're not going to give a shit about the guy that died. They're going to be talking about the small Grim Reaper and that gigantic ginger woman that couldn't control it. But after a while I thought, having a funeral for someone that you love and cherish on Halloween is a fucking choice, isn't it? Like, the risk of ghouls and goblins is quite high. Having a funeral on Halloween is kind of like booking your wedding at Butlins and then getting pissed off when there's a bunch of lads dressed as minions doing shots at the bar. That is just what happens there. And a lot of mums in the room would have heard this. People say to you, like, it's the most important job in the world. People say to you, being a mum is the most important job in the world. And I think that's really lovely. And someone said that to me recently. I went out to lunch with my friend and I was sat down and I was talking about how, you know, I'm in my 30s now. I'm not really where I wanted to be in my career. I've not got a degree that I do nothing with. Sometimes I have dreams where I get hit by a bus and I wake up smiling, and I don't think that's normal, but like, I can't afford therapy, so like, what am I going to do? And she leaned across the table and she took my hand and she said, listen, she's Welsh, so this is going to be a terrible accent, and if there's any Welsh people in the room, I'm really sorry. She said, listen, you have got the most important job in the world, because you are someone's mammy. I was like, that's really lovely. I am someone's mammy. That's really nice. Antonia, do you know what my friend's job is? She's a brain scientist at Exeter University, currently working on a cure for dementia. Now, I would argue that that is slightly more important than what I'm doing, which is raising a small boy who, last time I checked, said that when he grows up, he wants to be a crab. Because, and I quote, I want to pinch people's toes. You can be a weirdo in any species, you don't need to be a crab to do it. I'm not saying motherhood isn't important, it obviously is, but I just think there needs to be tiers, you know, like, you've got like scientists, politicians, people trying to like solve world hunger, and then somewhere way down that list is me trying to convince a future crustacean to eat his vegetables. Like, genuinely, I know it is like very, very important. But all I'm saying is that I don't think the UN is sat there waiting for my opinion on the situation in Ukraine. They're trying to negotiate peace. I'm trying to negotiate with someone who, for some reason, thinks trousers are an optional extra. Sorry, I'm trying to check my time, and literally this picture just appeared on my watch of this woman in a face mask. Right, there we go. I'm going to leave you tonight with a story, if I might, about my nan, because it's International Women's Day. I would like to talk about her. She was a very strict lady. She grew up in Stoke-on-Trent, and she grew up in poverty, and she was the first person in our family to kind of get a proper education. She became a teacher, and she ended up moving down to Devon, where I ended up being born. And later in life, when I was in my 20s, she got dementia. And it made her go from a very stern, strict woman to a very soft lady who loved a cuddle, adored all her grandkids. There's a lot of us, and we're all girls. And we were sat with her one day, all of us around her, and she was looking around us, telling us stories about her life, how she'd achieved what she had, what she'd gone through to be where she was. And she turned around and she was like, I've done all these things, and look at you all sat around me. And I was with all my cousins, and they all looked like me, we're all tattooed and pierced and crazy hair. And she just looked at us all and went, everything I've been through. And it was all for nothing. I'm Molly Kinsey, you're going to love me.